Welcome all to the course of Data Communication Networking, BE 7th semester, Electronics and Communication Engineering. We are discussing Transport Layer Unit 7. In the previous session, we have introduced process-to-process delivery. Today we start our discussion with one protocol in our transport layer is a UDP. A UDP is located over here in our TCP/IP suite. Fine. So let's start with our user datagram protocol called as an UDP. The user datagram protocol is called as a connectionless, unreliable transport protocol. It does not add anything to the services of IP except to provide a process-to-process communication instead of host-to-host communication. Also, it performs a very limited error checking. If UDP is so powerless, why we would process want to use it? With the disadvantages come some advantages. UDP is a very simple protocol using a minimum of overhead. If a process wants to send a small message and does not care much about reliability, it can use a UDP. Sending a small message by using a UDP takes much less interaction between the sender and the receiver than using a TCP or HTTP. Over here, following topic to be discussed over here is a well-known ports in a UDP, a user datagram, a checksum, how our UDP operation can be performed, and last, the use of UDP. So starting with a well-known ports of UDP. A table shows some of the well-known ports used by the UDP. Some ports number can be used by the both UDP and TCP. We discuss them when we talk about the TCP later in this topic. So suppose port number 7 is used for echo. Echoes are received datagram back to the sender. Then after 11 for user. Then boot P 67, SNMP 61, 161, SNMP 612. Fine. So there are well-known ports. Let's have an example. In a Unix, well-known ports are stored in a file called as an etc services. Each line this type gives the name of the server and then well-known ports number. We can use the grep utility to extract the line corresponding to the desired application. The following shows the port FTP. Note that FTP uses a port number 21, either TCP or UDP. Fine. So FTP uses a port number 21. Same, SNMP use two ports 161 and 162, each for the different purpose. We will see that in the chapter. Fine. A user datagram. A UDP packets called as a user datagram have a fixed size header 8 bytes. Figure shows the format of the user datagram. The fields are as follows. Source port number. We discuss each one. This is the port number used by the process running on the source host. It is a 16-bit long, which means that the port number can range from 0 to 65535. If the source host is a client, the client sending a request, the port number in the most cases is the empirical port number requested by the process and chosen by the UDP software running on the source host. If the source host is the server, just like our server sending a response, the port number is most cases is a well-known port number. Second is a destination port number. This is the port number used by the process running on the destination port or the destination host. It is also 16-bit long. If the destination host is a server, just a client sending a request, the port number is in most cases a well-known ports. If the destination host is a client, just like a server sending a response, the port number is in most cases the empirical port number. In this case, the server copies the empirical port number it has received in the request packet. After that, a length. This is a 16-bit field that defines the total length of a user datagram, header plus data. The 16-bit data can define the total length of 0 to 65535 bytes. However, the total length needs to be much less because the UDP user datagram is stored in a IP datagram with a total length of 65535 bytes. The length field in a UDP user datagram is actually not necessary. A user datagram is encapsulated in a IP datagram. There is a field in the IP datagram that defines the total length. There is another field in the IP datagram that defines the length of the header. So if we subtract the value of the second field from the first, we can deduce the length of the UDP datagram as encapsulated in the IP datagram. So a UDP length is the IP length minus IP header's length. However, the designer of the UDP protocol felt that it was more efficient for the destination UDP to calculate the length of the data from the information provided in the UDP user datagram rather than ask the IP software to supply this information. We should remember that when an IP software delivers the UDP user datagram to the UDP layer, it has already dropped the IP header. The last one is a checksum. This field is used to detect the errors over the entire user datagram, header plus data. So we discussed the checksum in detail. We have already talked about the concept of the checksum and why it is calculated in our previous chapter. We have also shown how to calculate the checksum of the IP and ICMP packet. We now show how this is done for a UDP. A UDP checksum calculation is different from the one from IP and ICMP. Here the checksum includes the three sections: a pseudo header, a UDP header, and the data coming from the application layer. Right? A pseudo header, a UDP header, and the data. Firstly, a pseudo header is the part of the header of the IP packet which is the user datagram to be encapsulated in some fields with zeros. If the checksum does not include the pseudo header, the user datagram must arrive safe and sound. However, if the IP header is corrupted, it may be delivered to the wrong host. The protocol field is added to ensure that the packet belongs to the UDP and not to the another transport layer protocols. We will see later that if the process can be either UDP or TCP, the destination port number can be same. The value of protocol field for the UDP is 17. If this value is changed during the transmission, the checksum calculation at the receiving will detect the UDP drops the packet. It is not delivered to the wrong protocol. Note that the similarities between the pseudo header fields and the last 12 bytes of the IP header. Let's have an example. Figure shows the checksum calculation for a very small user datagram with only 7 bytes of data. Because the number of the byte is odd, so this figure shows the checksum calculation of very small user datagram with 7 bytes of the data. Because the number of bytes of data is odd, padding is added over here for the checksum calculation. The pseudo header as well as the padding will be dropped when the user datagram is delivered to the IP. Next is a UDP operation. A UDP uses a concept common to the transport layer. This concept will be discussed here briefly and then expanded in the next session for the TCP protocol. First is connectionless services. As mentioned previously, UDP provides a connectionless service. This means that each user datagram sent by UDP is an independent datagram. There is no relationship between the different user datagram even if they are coming from the same source process and going to the same destination program. The user datagram are not numbered. Also, there is no connection establishment and no connection termination as in the case of the TCP. This means that each user datagram can travel on the different path. One of the ramification of being connectionless is that the process that use a UDP cannot send a stream of the data to the UDP and expect the UDP to chop them into the different related user datagrams. Instead, each request must be small enough to fit into the one user datagram. Only those processed sending short message should use a UDP. Second is a flow control and error control. UDP is a very simple unreliable transport protocol. There is no flow control and hence no window mechanism. The receiver may overflow with incoming messages. There is no error control mechanism in UDP except the checksum. This means that the sender does not know if a message has been lost or duplicated. When the receiver detects an error through the checksum, the user datagram is silently discarded. The lack of the flow control and the error control means that the process using the UDP should provide this mechanism. Next is encapsulation and decapsulation. To send a message from the one process to another, the UDP protocol encapsulates and decapsulates the message in a IP datagram. Queuing. We have talked about ports without discussing the actual implementation of them. In the UDP, queues are associated with the ports. For this, consider this figure. At the client side, when a process starts, it requests a port number from the operating system. Some implementation create both incoming and outgoing queue associated with each process. Other implementation created only a incoming queue associated with each process. Note that even if a process wants to communicate with multiple processes, it obtains only one port of the number and eventually one outgoing and one incoming queue. The queues operated by the client are in most cases identified by the empirical port numbers, temporary. The queues functions as long as the process is running. When a process terminates, the queues are destroyed. The client process can send the message to the outgoing queue by using the source port number specified in the request. UDP removes the message one by one and after adding a UDP header delivers from the IP. An outgoing queue can overflow. If this happens, the operating system can ask the client process to wait before sending more messages. When message arrives from a client, UDP checks if the incoming queue has been created for the port number specified in the destination port number field of the user datagram. If there is such a queue, UDP sends and received user datagram to the end to the queue. If there is no such queue, UDP discards the user datagram and asks the ICMP protocol to send a port unreachable message to the server. All incoming messages for one particular client program, whether incoming from the same or different server, are sent to the same queue. An incoming queue can overflow this. If this happens, the UDP drops the user datagram and asks for the port unreachable message to send the server. At the server side, so it is a server, it is a client, it is server. The mechanism of creating a queues is different. It is the simplest form of a server asks for incoming and outgoing queues using a well-known ports. When it starts running, the queues remains open as long as the server is running. When a message arrives for a server, UDP checks to see if an incoming queue has been created for the port number specified in the destination port number field of the user datagram. If there is such a queue, UDP sends the received user datagram to end of the queue. If there is no such queue, UDP discards the user datagram and asks the ICMP protocol to send a port unreachable message to the client. All the incoming message for the one particular server, whether coming from the same or the different client, are sent to the same queue. The incoming queue can overflow. If this happens, UDP drops the user datagram and asks for the port unreachable message to be sent to the client. When a server wants to respond to the client, it sends message to the outgoing queue using the source port number specified in the request. UDP removes the message one by one and after adding a UDP header, delivers from the IP. An outgoing queue can overflow. If this happens, the operating system asks the server to wait before sending any more messages. Fine. So it is a queue in our UDP. A last point of this today's discussion is a use of UDP. The following is the list some uses of UDP protocol. UDP is suitable for process that requires simple request and response communication with little concern for a flow and error control. It is not usually used for a process such as FTP that needs to send a bulk data. Second is a UDP is suitable for a process with a internal flow and error control mechanism. For example, a trivial file transfer protocol TFTP process includes flow and error control. It can easily use UDP. Third is UDP is suitable transport protocol for a multicasting. Multicasting capability is embedded in UDP software but not in a TCP software. Next is UDP is used for management process such as SNMP. Last is a UDP is used for some route updating protocols such as routing information protocol RIP. So these are the use of our UDP. So it is the end of our session. So let's revise our discussion. We started our discussion with our UDP introduction. In the UDP we have seen a well-known ports. After that we have seen an example of FTP port number and TCP and UDP port number. After that we have seen a user datagram format in which header data, source port number and destination port number, length and checksum will be discussed in detail with this frame structure. pseudo header and header with data is discussed. After that, we have seen an example of a checksum calculation, a UDP operation discussed with the help of the various stage, connectionless, flow and error control, encapsulation, decapsulation, queuing. We have seen queues in a two scenario, client side and server side. At last, we have seen a use of UDP in various procedure. Fine. So it is a question for you. Write them in your notebook. We conclude our session over here. We start our next session with same process to process delivery with TCP protocol. Fine. Okay students, see you in the next session. Thank you.